Greetings, Colonists, to another episode of Let's Do a Level of Outpost 2 Divided Destiny. Right, Eden Mission 9. Come on, game. No. It's not the one I want. Investigation. Brooke was getting to be good at stealing vehicles. He was getting a lot of practice lately. He was even getting the hang of the manual controls that all Eden vehicles were equipped with as an emergency measure, but which were otherwise rarely used. The tiller bounced in his gloved hand, and he applied a little right pressure to avoid a fresh meteor crater. As the cargo truck bounced its way around the backside of the rare ore smelter, where it would be shielded from any curious eyes back in Eden, he wondered again if he should really be going along with this plan. Actually, he had no idea what the plan was. He knew only that the explicit instructions Echo had given him, and he had followed them to the letter. Axon's clandestine messengers had encouraged him to cooperate. Axon seemed to think that the Masters had bigger secrets to hide than he knew, and that this might provide them with new leads. He spotted a suited figure that had to be Echo standing at the building's base in a shadow, a small setback, like a cave in its vast silver cliff. He braked the truck to a sliding stop that threw him forward against his straps. He muttered to himself as he shut down the power system and locked the parking brakes. The hatch slid open immediately. He hadn't bothered to pressurize the cabin when leaving the Golf, and Echo climbed up on the broad steps. You could see her smiling behind her visor. "I really didn't think you'd do it. You aren't quite the bad boy you make yourself out to be. Maybe I've just got you fooled about that bad boy part. I'm here, aren't I? Besides, you told me you just wanted to borrow this, though I'd still like to know why you'd want to borrow the cargo." In the trailer was a battle-damaged Lynx. Stirred destroyed during the last skirmish with Plymouth, the rest of the chassis badly damaged. It had been bound for metal recycling when Brooke had intercepted it. About the only possible use he could think of for it was as ballast. Echo shook her head. "I'm not ready to trust you with all our secrets yet. You keep providing things we need, and we'll talk about it. But not today. Just trust me on this one, and I'll be much more inclined to trust you in the future." She shook her head back towards the power plant. "Out. There's a scooter back there in the recess you can use to get back to the colony." Reluctantly, he climbed out as she slid past and into the seat. Her hands ran over the controls with a familiarity he'd never felt while driving. Where had she gotten the chance to practice that? "Looks good. I'm out of here." He kept his perch on the steps. "Wait, when will you be back?" She considered his question for a moment before answering. "About 20 hours for my business, plus travel time. Call it 35 hours. 40 tops. You said nobody will notice the truck missing." Operation thinks it's in the garage. The garage thinks it's part of the Starship salvage convoy. The truck that's actually in the convoy was rotated out of ore hauling, and when you bring this truck back, it will replace it. As long as you beat the convoy back, there won't be a problem. But I can't hide it forever. Same with that junker in bed. Since the mine colony scandal, there are much closer tabs kept on my recycled items and total output. You'll get your salvage back, pound for pound. Now, the sooner I roll, the sooner I'm back. Off. He stepped down and away from the truck, and watched as it accelerated smoothly, turned, and using the power plant as cover, headed out into the foothills, into thousands of miles of nothing as far as Brooke knew. But somewhere out there, 7.5 hours away, was something. Destination. That would be what Axon was trying to uncover. Not if Brooke could uncover it first. Axon leaned back in his chair and contemplated what that array of pictures, lists, and documents that Kraft was displaying on his apartment's big intercom screen. His goal was to identify the Masters and their resources. Not at all an easy task. Although the group had technically gone public, only Echo, of all the core members, had publicly identified herself. The rest were hidden, and their anonymity made them especially dangerous. There were others who identified themselves as part of the group, but they were newcomers and hangers-on, seduced by Echo Vendosia's rhetoric, and who knew little of the group's actual agenda or activities. With the exception of Vendosia, if they loudly proclaimed their membership, they weren't of interest to Axon. That left Echo, the 3 goons she had brought with her when she had attempted to recruit Panati, and a few more that he had identified since. For these few, Axon had names, pictures, information. The rest, however there might be, were a mystery, and a difficult mystery at that. But Axon had been luckier in tracking down deceased members. Many of those that had been at the mining outposts had been sent there because of probable association with the Masters, Vox Borges being one of them. Axon still wasn't sure if Borges' attempt to kill him had been initiated by the Masters, or if Borges had struck a deal with the now deposed council. There had been others, some of whom had been identified as having died in accidents. Some Axon had ruled out as active members for one reason or another, and 3 who were simply missing. These 3 were also identified as having been killed in an accident, but unlike the others, no remains had been identified. Curiously, despite their newfound power, the Masters had not protested or called for further investigation. Axon walked up to the screen, took out a data pen and wrote next to the 3 names. Dead? ? He considered this for a moment. Then he wrote above the names, loose cannons. But if these 3 weren't dead, where were they? From there, Axon had set Kraft investigating the dispensation of everything from the mining outpost. Again, there were curious holes. Most of its resources, units and buildings were listed as abandoned in place, unsalvageable. Yet, a count taken from satellite photos didn't jibe with the inventory. A handful of items were unaccounted for, including a robominer, a convac, a command sensor kit, a laser guard post. A Lynx totaled during the Plymouth raid on the outpost was also unaccounted for, though its hog should be still be on the battlefield where it had been disabled. He looked at the short row of pictures at the top of the display. Thanks to Panati, he knew knew these few for sure. Kraft, run up a profile on these, up to and including their current work assignment and whereabouts. Certainly, Axon. There was a pause. Preliminary report is on your clipcom. I am attempting to create a deductive profiler from less direct sources. Kraft, I taught you well. It's good to have you back. He scanned the list quickly. G. Atolo was a scientist currently working on agricultural research. Sharon McComb worked in a garage. The others were an unexceptional lot, working in common jobs in less than key locations. The one oddity was Jacques Barr, who was on disability leave from his job in the vehicle factory. Bonatti hadn't mentioned any obvious infirmity. Axon tapped the name on his clipcom. Kraft, give me more on this. He is listed as having been injured in a robotic malfunction 3 weeks ago. Confined to bed. I find a listed emergency response of that description on that date, but indirect information causes me to suspect that record. Is he in his quarters? Probable. On what do you base that? Surface logs show appropriate drains on life support. There are ongoing records of communications activity, computer use, changes in electrical power demand, all consistent with occupation. His ration points have been used to purchase meals in his residence. Axon chewed his fingertip nervously. He could think of ways to fake all those things. What about his luxury ration points? They have been used also. Where? 3 different recreation facilities, the consumer goods factory, several public eating places around the colony. Axon smiled. They'd done a good job, but someone had gotten greedy. If Barr wasn't around to use his luxury points, why should they go to waste? But an invalid wouldn't be spending them all over the station. So where was Barr? With all the other missing items? With the other masters supposedly dead? Possibly, but it was too soon to jump to such conclusions. His clipcom chimed softly and a message icon flashed on the upper corner of the screen. Answer. Visual, he said. The face that appeared on the screen was Zach Hodson, son of one of his fellow elders and a member of the new Senate. Zach nodded respectfully, though the two of them were hardly strangers. Elder, Chairman wishes to see you in a personal meeting. There is a favor to be asked. Axon raised an eyebrow. This was unexpected. Care to save me the suspense and tell me what this is about, Zack? I don't know exactly, Elder. It is my understanding that they want you to act as some kind of diplomat. Brooke sat in a now familiar alcove under the edge of the rare ore smelter, watching waves of dust blow past the opening. He was sitting on bare ground, and despite the suit's insulation and heaters, his butt was getting cold. He looked at the chrono display on his helmet's heads-up display. Where was she? He leaned forward and watched the thin, high clouds moving across the sky at a frightful pace. Nuterra's weather had become increasingly erratic, in part because of the thicker atmosphere and the change in the gases making it up. In part because of the volcanic activity in the blight-infected areas. The thin, dry air had begun to spring new surprises on Eden scientists. Dry lightning storms, apparently caused by static electricity, had begun to appear in the outskirts of the colony, as well as dangerous funnel clouds the scientists had dubbed vortexes. Every time the scientists came up with a weather model that worked, the environment changed enough to render it invalid, making their forecast almost useless. There was no serious storms forecast for today, but his gut told him otherwise. He didn't want to be caught alone on the surface with only a suit and a scooter. Something in the distant wind-blown dust caught his eye. Nothing more than a slight thickening in the cloud. He watched carefully. Yes, dust kicked up by a vehicle. He stood, brushed hopefully at the dust covering his suit, and finally settled on getting his visor relatively clear. He stepped from his shelter and actually felt the wind tugging at him. At this pressure, that meant the wind had to be moving at 120 kilometers per hour or better. As he watched the truck getting closer, he saw another thickening in the cloud. At first he thought it was a second vehicle. Then the funnel pulled reddish soil up its otherwise invisible length, like a child sucking orange juice through a straw. Vortex! He eyed the truck warily and wondered if Echo had seen the funnel. The vortex was perhaps 700 meters behind her and might be hidden from her view by the cargo box. If she checked her rear view cameras, she'd see it, but there was little reason to do so in the open desert. As he watched the seconds tick by in the corner of his eye, he tried to judge the movements of both the truck and the vortex. If it didn't speed up in its lazy weaving dance across the desert, she'd beat it here easily. He could get in the cab, to heck with the scooter, and they could make a run for the safety of the nearest garage. Then another discomforting thought occurred to him. What if she saw the vortex and didn't stop? It would be quicker to make a straight run for the garage, and Brooke had no way of judging if she cared at all for his life, or if she would consider him valuable enough to take the risk in rescuing. Quickly he surveyed his surroundings. There was a surface access door a few meters up. It would be locked, but Brooke had a hacked keycard that might contain an override that would work. He watched the truck grow closer, as did the vortex, which had grown dark and tall, the soft fuzzy column of its funnel tightening down in a smooth, thin, writhing snake. Brooke knew what that meant. That meant that a faster inner column of spinning air was forming, a corkscrew wind so fast it had never been measured. Such a focused stream of destructive force that scientists jokingly called it an air laser. The truck at first seemed to be taking a wide arc around the smelter, but then it turned towards him, seemingly in no great hurry. The vortex was getting closer, its funnel whipping it back and forth now, like a tail of some angry beast. Hurry! She couldn't have spotted the vortex. She was loafing along at nowhere near the truck's top speed. Frag! The vortex was going to be overrun her before she got here. Quickly, he ran back to the scooter and hopped on. He got the throttle and the fat tires kicked up at a rooster tail of dust that the wind sucked away greedily. He had to make it to her first. He ran the bike flat out, the tires slipping from side to side in the loose sand, gusts of wind trying to knock him off his balance. The vortex loomed over the truck like a giant about to stomp on an ant. He laid the bike over on its side and without slowing down, sliding to a stop in the truck's path, praying that the sharp rock didn't split open his suit, the truck veered to avoid him, slowing enough that he was able to jump onto the step and grab hold of the door grab handles as it opened. He threw himself inside. Echo glanced over. "Brooke, are you out of your mind? Turn right. Hard. Vortex." She looked shocked. She didn't hesitate, and the truck slid around him in a tight turn. Brooke glanced at the rearview screen and saw his scooter, half flattened by one of the truck's tires, nearly disappear in a cloud of dust at the funnel's base, then reappear as an explosion of fragments that went in all directions, as though it had been blown apart with a grenade. Faster! But it was too late. The truck, already off balance from a tight turn, was hit by the vortex, which tried unsuccessfully to lift it into the sky. Instead, the truck began to roll slowly, first up onto his side, then completely over. Brooke, not being strapped in, landed in a heap in the cab's ceiling. The whole cab bucked and shuddered as though it were being torn from the truck, then dropped to the ground with a crash. Brooke rolled over onto his belly and looked out the window. The huge base of the funnel had moved past them, but then it paused in its drunken walk and started moving back toward them. It reached back and pulled the emergency release on Echo's harness, catching her as she fell free and immediately tugging her out of the door. The funnel was coming at them fast now. If it had hit the cab with them still in it, he was certain they'd have been killed. Of course, if it caught them out in the open, they'd be just as dead. Brooke glanced at the overturned cargo box. A small depression in the ground had created an opening under its lip that might be large enough to crawl into. He dragged the dazed Echo towards it. It was too loud to hear her or even tell her if their radios were still working. He shoved her towards the opening and she got the idea. He crouched next to her and helped push her through the tight space. The vortex was almost on them now. Brooke climbed into the opening, digging his way frantically into the dark space with hands and feet. He slipped into the tight space between the cargo box and its combat vehicle cargo, but Echo was nowhere to be seen. Then her helmet light flashed from the other end of the box, and he saw her waving him frantically that way. He scrambled on hands and knees towards her, and she motioned him towards the engine cover on the back of the combat unit. Of course! The links might be heavy enough to resist the vortex. The cover hung loosely by one corner, and there was just enough room in the motor bay for the two of them to squeeze inside. He jammed his back against the bulkhead and braced with his feet. He glanced over at Echo. If he'd wanted to be rid of her, he'd missed a perfect chance, and now his attempted rescue might end up costing him his own life. The roaring outside reached a crescendo, and the dark hiding place was suddenly flooded with light as the truck bed lifted away. The link shook, seemed to lift slightly in the air, made a 180-degree turn, then dropped back to the dirt. The roar faded, and Brooke caught a glimpse of the vortex withdrawing into the sky. Suddenly claustrophobic, he leaped out of the hatch and ran a few meters before falling down into the dust. Echo staggered out, walked over, and plopped down beside him. She laughed. "Guess this truck is off the books for good, eh?" He laughed too, more from relieved tension than anything else. Then he noticed something about the Lynx. It was hard to be certain when it was sitting upside down, but he was relatively sure he was right. It was the same turret that had left Eden hours before, but the chassis was different. Though it was the same model and it was combat damaged, but the damage was more extensive, and in different places. Somebody had swapped the trash turret onto an even more trashed body and shipped it back. Why? He looked over at Echo, who made eye contact. A big smile on her face. His heart sank. He'd just saved her life. Would he be able to do whatever was necessary when the time came? Axon sat down at one end of the empty center table facing the big screen set up at the other end. For the first time in decades, he would have a legitimate legal communication with Plymouth. Give it to the chairman. When it comes to survival issues, the bases are covered. In secret, even as the shooting war was heating up, lines of communication had been opened with Plymouth, and the stage set for negotiations, not to end the fight, but to ensure the safety and survival of Plymouth's human gene bank. Axon had been reluctant to step into the role of negotiator, but the chairman had insisted that he was especially qualified, and had granted him significant powers. It was just possible that he might be able to accomplish something here today. He'd spent the last 10 hours researching the situation, developing various proposed agreements that would allow him for the transfer of the gene bank when Eden completed its starship. He felt confident that he was ready to deal with any situation. Then the screen lit, and Emma's face looked back at him. Her expression was blank. This was obviously less than a surprise for her than him. Axon, she said. It's been a long time. Which officially it had been. Even unofficially it had been long enough. Emma, they hadn't told me who would be my counterpart in Plymouth would be. This is a surprise. I see that. And yet, somehow I think I know exactly what you want. That's playing it a little too close to the surface, Emma. We have to be discreet, for both our sakes. We're looking for a guarantee that the gene bank will be transferred to us if it's clear that Plymouth will not finish its starship in time. In return, we will guarantee the safety of the gene bank, if it is placed in a designated and marked non-strategic structure, and that Eden will be allowed to depart unmolested if its ship is finished first. She nodded while keeping eye contact. We're prepared to discuss it, Axon, though you know some things are non-negotiable. Something on her desktop caught her eye. She touched an icon, and a document appeared. She read it quickly, and her jaw dropped, then clenched shut as she looked up at him, eyes burning like coals. She looked at someone off camera and said, "Bring him in." She turned back to him, looking no less angry. "How could you? What were you What were you trying to accomplish? Steal it, or just locate it for future reference? In case we didn't agree to steal our gene bank on the outside of a building." He shook his head in puzzlement. "Emma, I have no idea what you mean. What's happened?" "I hope you are telling the truth, Axon, but it makes no difference in the outcome of our talks today. As of now, they are over." She glanced back as two uniformed men dragged a third man into camera range. The man's wrists were cuffed behind him, and the guards stood on either side holding him up. A large bruise stained one side of his face. "We found him in a restricted area adjacent to where the gene bank is stored. Do you know this man, Axon?" Unfortunately, he did. The man on screen was Jack Bauer. Right. Time to get on to the mission proper. Commander, our starship development is progressing, but we are missing several key components. Patrol units have located another debris field from the Conestoga that may yield the information we need. A convoy will attempt to uncover the wreckage we need. Use the scouts to scan the wreckage site for any pieces that are not already identified. When they are marked, move a cargo truck to the location to load the wreckage. Bring the loaded cargo trucks back to the convoy starting point. Plymouth appears to be preparing their own starship, and their raid on our colonies shows how unbalanced they have become. They will be in the vicinity as well, and may show hostile intent. Well, yeah. Based on observations in the recent raid on our base, Plymouth seems to have developed several new units and weapons capabilities. Respond accordingly, but remember that recovering the wreckage is our primary objective. See the specific objective list for additional information. Alright, so just return 4 spacecraft parts to the convoy starting location. We can do that.
Command control initiated.
Alright, let's once again make a save. Now, to get all my units together in groups that would make sense. Because they haven't given me a wide variety of units, but not all of them are quite in the same league of usefulness. Namely these acid units. Alright, so first order of business is to get rid of all these trucks and these scouts running around. And let's hope that New Terra will be favorable to us. Alright, so Plymouth has set up a minor base, several places, some turrets, which are luckily, most of them are not attached to the command center, which would make them much more dangerous. There's also a volcano on this map that will explode.
Sighted.
Alright, nothing here. Well,
Enemy unit sighted.
I think the pieces are always in the same location, but I always forget where exactly they are.
Enemy unit sighted.
Don't you just love the friendly fire? Right, where was that scout? Scout, scout, scout. Where is the scout? Pretty sure we didn't catch it.
Wreckage located.
Ah. Well, that's the first one. That's gonna be relatively easy. The rest will be considerably harder. Right, well, while that is going on, let's start dealing with these. Now, the ESG turrets are annoying, but I can handle them. Alright, let's get over here. Right, I don't think there's anything else left here. Unless I've absolutely missed where it would be. Oh, I just want to slowly clear the way for my vehicles over on this side. Before the volcano erupts, preferably.
Wreckage loaded.
Alright, that's one down.
Caution. Seismic watch initiated.
Let's just move out of the way. Now, the acid cloud don't really do that much damage, but cumulatively they can take down pretty much everything. That's the only area of effect weapon that Eden has.
Warning. Seismic event detected.
Right. Now you do have to be very careful on this mission, because losing any one of the trucks will instantly fail the mission, which is not what we want.
Caution. Electrical storm watch initiated.
Oh, come on. I mean, I know you're playing hard to win game, but still, give me a chance here.
We are under attack. Alert. Electrical storm imminent.
Just kill it off, please.
Warning. Electrical storm detected.
Out of the way. Run, run, run. And let's kill this tokamak. It won't do much, but, you know, just having it out of the way just will make me feel better. In the meantime, you can take care of that. Alright. That's fine. You can all move up now.
Wreckage located.
Now that's fortuitous. Alright, you come along.
Wreckage loaded.
Yep, you. And let's be safe again. Now, I don't really want to fight the ESG turret because for one thing, it will totally screw with whatever I'm not doing. Right, I've done enough damage to that now. Because there is a chance that the turret will simply collapse if it has any damage. Now, I don't count my luck as being that high that it will happen, but you know, it could happen. Alright. Hopefully some of these storms will be on my side. And this storm might damage some of these turrets, perhaps even destroy the advanced lab. Advanced labs will also explode in a radius around them, because of the dangerous chemicals, similarly to turrets. As do the reactors, although on the reactors you really have more to fear from the EMP radiation that comes out of them. Now, most of these weapons, like the acid cloud or the EMP grenade-based weapons, they all have the same range, so you can't really outrange them. In fact, there is really only one weapon that Eden will get that can outrange them, but I don't have that, obviously. Alright, let's send you in here, and you can deal with that turret. And you all come up here.
Caution. Vortex watch initiated.
Alright, that's nowhere near us. Now, EMP turrets, as annoying as they are, they can't do anything, besides just shutting me down for a bit.
Alert. Vortex imminent.
They are annoyingly accurate, but beyond that. Now, as near as I can tell, there are no...
Vortex detected.
There are no things here. Alright, there's the vortex, all the way on the other side of the map. There are no pieces here. In fact, if I recall correctly, there is a piece somewhere near here, and one down here. But again, no way to tell unless I go near it. So I need to find a way to clear out this area. And that's gonna be annoying. Luckily they don't have many dangerous weapons here, but I do know that they will get reinforcements and they will stream in from over here. So I will want my heavy units to be catching most of the damage, because this sticky foam is annoying. And it doesn't matter much if it hits one of my, well, heavy armored vehicles, because the Lynxes will just simply die too. Now, the sticky foam doesn't really do much damage in all, but considering that the Lynx only has 300 hit points compared to 700 from the Panther and 800 from the Tiger.
Caution. Electrical stormwatch initiated.
That's fine, that's not anywhere near us. I want them to come in as a secondary force to really hurt them.
Alert. Electrical storm imminent.
Right, let's see if I can draw him forward.
We are under attack.
Well, not really.
Warning. Electrical storm detected.
Luckily, the enemy has not really got any offensive capabilities here. just focus fire on...
Vehicle destroyed.
Yeah, that was bound to happen at some point. Alright, let's take care of all the units that can damage us. Now, you'll notice that I'm not using my acid cloud over here. That's for a very good reason.
We are under attack.
That's absolutely too dangerous to do. Right, you lot, go deal with that. You come down here. And you all move over there. And that's an RPG Tiger. I wasn't actually really looking to deal with that.
We are under attack.
Right, let's see if I can disable it. That's fine. Because they do have a vehicle factory over here, but I don't know how many resources they have. I suspect they don't have all that much, but... well... you never know. I also want to be careful with blowing up any buildings, because that may trigger some of the reinforcements. Alright. Let's also kill this one. In general, I'm just trying to avoid...
seismic event imminent.
Trying to avoid killing any building that might be cause them to call in help.
Enemy unit sighted.
Right.
Warning. Seismic event detected.
Nothing here just yet.
Enemy unit sighted.
Let's just kill that before I fully investigate. And luckily these buildings are not designated as hostile. Otherwise my units would just keep shooting at them. Done with that. Right.
Enemy unit sighted. Wreckage located.
Ah, there it is. The weather has been remarkably tame actually at the moment. Alright, let's load up the wreckage. But the volcano has also not started yet, so I think we're ahead of schedule. I wonder why Plymouth brought out her lab. Or any lab, really. Because that's scientists that you're investing, lots of rare ore.
Wreckage loaded. Caution. Seismic watch initiated.
No, it's just seismic watch. You go up there.
Alert. Seismic event imminent. Enemy unit sighted. Warning. Seismic event detected.
So where could the last piece be?
Caution. Electrical stormwatch initiated.
Alright, that's quite enough of that.
Alert. Electrical storm imminent.
Alright, well there's no real point in sitting around here. Let's check all the other debris fields. And you can destroy that
Enemy
turret.
unit sighted. Warning, electrical storm detected.
I mean, if it's over here, then we probably have won this, but I don't think it shifts around that much. Let's check back here. Right. That's my other truck.
Volcano watch initiated.
And that's where
Enemy unit sighted.
that was what I was expecting.
Alert. Volcanic eruption imminent. Enemy unit sighted. Enemy unit sighted. Warning. Volcanic eruption detected.
Right.
Caution.
Let's make a quick save here. It's not here. Really weird.
Enemy unit sighted. Alert. Vortex imminent. Enemy unit sighted.
And I'm pretty sure it would have seen it.
Warning. Vortex detected.
Well, that's not going to be my fault if that blows up. So, because a vortex can destroy a command center, and that's one of the most heavily armored buildings you can get if it gets close. Looks like it's gonna live. Right, where could the final bit be? Where can I still go? I mean, it is possible, mind you, that the bit that I want is over here, which would be very annoying.
Enemy unit sighted.
Yeah, darn.
Enemy unit sighted.
Well, nothing else for it. Let's move everybody over. Because if I attack this base, I'll likely have to deal with that. With all this. Kinda don't want to. But I may have no choice unless I'm missing something obvious. Just quickly check all the debris over here, just in case it was in an obviously different location. But I don't think I'm gonna be that lucky. Right. Let's move you all over here. Let's have you not take that route. Jeez. I mean, I know I don't have an RCC here, but still, come on, guys. You know, at least the AI is dumb enough to not recognize that their guard post is under attack. It should just collapse out of sheer exhaustion now.
Caution. Electrical stormwatch initiated. Enemy unit sighted. Alert. Electrical storm imminent.
Still not that bad. Luckily the volcano doesn't do anything really drastic.
We are under attack. Warning. Electrical storm detected.
Alright. Let's get everybody in position. Just in case we need to do something. And there, that would have been too easy. Just figures my luck. I also noted when I pick up the last piece, the Plymouth will send some reinforcements to annoy me. Alright, I think we're in position, or at least as in position as we can be. Because this might trigger the Plymouth response. But then again, it might not. I don't want to bother getting damage from the turrets if I can avoid it. The vehicles, that's almost fine. But the turrets are just a nuisance in that regard. If they can stick around for a little bit longer than most of the vehicles. Right.
We are under attack.
Right, come on. Just be destroyed. Alright, let's go in.
We are under attack.
Alright. Let's have a gander. Is the piece I want here? I kinda hope it isn't. I have looked everywhere else.
Enemy unit sighted.
Well, that's annoying. Right, come on, where is the last piece?
Enemy unit sighted.
Because I'm pretty sure I've tracked all over this place. Alright, fine. Let's deal with this.
We are under attack.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Enemy units sighted.
Oh,
We are under attack. Vehicle destroyed.
and that's why I didn't want to attack any of the real buildings.
Caution. Electrical storm watch initiated. We are under attack. Enemy units sighted. Caution. Vortex watch initiated.
Alright, you need to be out of there.
Alert. Electrical storm imminent. Alert. Vortex imminent. Warning. Electrical storm detected. Warning. Vortex detected. Enemy units sighted.
I'm pretty sure I've checked all these sites already. Come on.
Enemy units sighted.
Where is it?
We are under attack. We are under attack.
It's gotta be
Enemy
around
units
this sound
sighted.
here. You know, I've been all over this place. It's gotta be somewhere. And now that I've only got one vehicle that I can use to check. Well, obviously it's not here, so let's move back up. Alright, let's just double check that there's nothing here. Because already they're not in the same location I found these last time, so I'm confused. Unless I found them already. That seems unlikely. And we have more reinforcements streaming in. Well, great.
Wreckage located.
Oh, for crying out. Oh well, at least we found it. Should save some time. Alright, I don't really need you four anymore. You go over there. And we have yet more reinforcements streaming in. Luckily our goal is nowhere near there, but still. Let's just keep an eye on them. I mean, I'm kinda happy I did increase the speed of these things, but damn, they are still slow. If only I had been able to find this sooner, but I've been past this area so many times, this little speck just didn't stand out. It looks like they're staying here in their patrols, and that's absolutely fine with me, because while my vehicles are still good, my tigers are starting to get really worn down. And they may start moving once I pick up the last load, because they have the same view of this area as I do. Of course, once I pick up this wreckage, I will get some reinforcements. But they will be all the way over here, which is no good to me.
Electrical stormwatch initiated.
That's fine. As long as there's not a vortex, I'm fine with it.
Wreckage loaded.
Nice.
Reinforcements ready.
Good.
Alert. Electrical storm imminent.
Now, it's a little bit difficult to get these reinforcements to be moving in a direction where I want them to be. Right. Not seeing any movement here. Then I'm moving all of you up here.
Warning. Electrical storm detected.
Right. The electrical storm will probably have passed by the time my trucks arrive, so it's fine. Yeah, because last time, the last bit was over here, and all of Plymouth's units just converged on the truck, killed it before I could get my support units near there, because I thought I was home free and I could just walk away. Because up until that point, Plymouth units had not shown any interest in going after my trucks. Of course, they may still arrive. Even a direct hit by the lightning will not destroy the truck, so we should be able to time it just right. Yeah, didn't get hit. Oh, yeah. At least the light armor on these trucks. I won't slow them down so much. Well, I don't exactly know what it means, light armor. That's something to do with the weapon penetration, for instance. I know that the railguns have fairly good penetration, actually. But in any case, should be fine. And by now, Plymouth can't stop me anymore, so let's just celebrate. We're almost home free. Come on, trucky, a little bit faster. Truck, 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 truck. You can do it.
Well. Our colony is surviving.
Yay. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time.